states.
Here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
New history? New history. What is new about that? I don't understand. If you're watching this and you disagree with me, I need you to explain to me what the hell that means. New history? Okay, so it feels like we're at a comfortable situation between me and you, all right? That to where I can be as honest as I can. Because you guys like that, right? So when I say what I'm about to say, I truly mean it, all right? And if you disagree, let me know in the comments. But Donald Trump does not care about black people in education and history. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When it comes to education and just everything that requires, individuals from elementary school to high school to universities, Trump has no idea what it takes for a good education. I mean, he started Trump University and it failed. It flopped. He actually got sued a dozen times regarding fake diplomas or whatnot. So when people try to make the argument that Trump is going to do what he can for a better education, it's funny. And I know I'm not laughing now, but trust me, it's just hilarious just trying to hear these people piece these arguments together. And he literally says himself, black history doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and just, try for kicks and giggles, Donald Trump talking about education. And I didn't set this up, so let me go ahead and do that now. All right, let's take a listen.
Here are 10 key ideas that will power our movement for great schools. First, we will respect the right of parents to control the education of their children. Second, we will empower parents and local school board to hire and reward great principals and teachers, and also to fire the poor ones, the one whose performance is unsatisfactory. They will be fired. Like on The Apprentice, you're fired.
Okay. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I've been to elementary school, middle school, high school, a little bit of college. Don't they already have some sort of process to where if teachers aren't functioning at a certain standard, they have a process to get rid of those teachers? Why is he talking as if there's no such procedures? But I mean, okay, I guess he needed to get that "you're fired" line in there, but okay, whatever.
Third, we will ensure our classrooms are focused not on political indoctrination, but on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed. Reading, writing.
Okay, so rewind just a little bit. Political indoctrination. Don't really know what that means, and that's literally coming from a political candidate. I mean, just a little weird. You know what I'm saying?
But on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed. Okay. Reading, writing, math, science, arithmetic, and other truly...
Okay, arithmetics is math. So, I mean, but okay, whatever. But one thing that he did mention is history. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that a part of knowing America's history? Just some of the basics. You don't have to go hardcore into the details with elementary school, middle school students. But once you get into high school, and like I say, I graduated in 2004, you know what I'm saying? There has to be a level of introduction to history. And I mean, you don't have to understand or learn world history, but at the very least, can we learn about American history? I mean, but maybe you're going to tell me, hey, he misspoke, maybe, but in there it's history. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just wipe out history class. That'd be crazy, right? So maybe, okay, I take your word for it. Maybe he just misspoke, or it's not in the prompter, mistyped in there. Let's go ahead.
Useful subjects. Fourth, we will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country.
To love their country, doesn't that kind of hinting a little bit towards political indoctrination? And what does that mean, to love your country but not hate it? Is there a difference between loving your country and still being critical on X, Y, and Z topics that's going on in our country? Is that possible? I'm extremely critical of my country, but I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, I love this country more than you. You watching right now. I guarantee, hands down, like 630, because I understand my ancestors, those that came before me, literally died building this country to what it's at today. And we're not even halfway there to where they envisioned it. So trust me, no one loves this country more than folks like myself. So I don't understand what that means. You don't want to be political indoctrination in schools, which I agree. That's why we have, separation between church and state. But I mean, to kind of throw that in there, okay, sure.
Like they're taught right now. Fifth, we will support bringing back prayer to our schools. Sixth, we will achieve school.
Whoa. Prayers in school. I'm a Christian man myself. I am a God-fearing man. Bible reading, tons, speaking from Revelations to or Genesis to Revelations. That's what I am. But I don't believe we should be forcing kids that might have different beliefs. I mean, that's the thing, right? Why would they force kids to pray? I mean, they're not going to have prayers for Allah. They're not going to have prayers for, whatever, other religions, Buddhists or whatnot. They're not going to do that. No. So once again,
that are safe, secure, and drug-free, with immediate expulsion for any student who harms a teacher or another student. Seventh, we will give all parents the right to choose another school for their children if they want. It's called school choice. Eighth, we will ensure students.
Okay, once again, school choice. How does that work? I mean, I know I want that school or I don't want that. Okay, I get that. But what about families that can't afford to move across town in order to put their kids in a certain school, or they don't have the transportation to drive their kids to school, then back to work, and it's a headache. I got 3 kids myself. You know what I'm saying? How does that work? What about busing? Are you going to make busing free for these kids? Are you going to make sure the transit is going to be taking kids from one part of the city to another if school choice is what you want? Once again, so many questions, but so little answers. Why haven't we asked this already? I don't know, because double standard, I guess.
Students have access to project-based learning experiences inside the classroom to help train them for meaningful work outside the classroom.
Okay.
Ninth, we will strive to give all students access to internships and work experiences that can set them on a path to their first job.
Whoa.
They're going to be very, very successful. I want them to be more successful than Trump. Let them go out and be more successful. I will be the happiest person in the world. But we want our children to have a great life and be successful. And 10th, we will ensure that all schools provide excellent jobs and career counseling so that high school and college students can get a head start on jobs and careers best suited to their God-given talents. This is how we will ensure a great education.
All right. Okay, we get it. We get it, bro. Okay. First off, I mean, it really sounds like they're just trying to condition kids into, the whole education straight to the workforce, which, okay, I get, you know what I'm saying? But at some point, I don't want my kids to fall in line of the status quo. I don't want them to graduate high school or college and then just start working for people. if they want to do something more meaningful, then do it. But this whole, just brainwashing our kids to, hey, the only thing you're going to amount of doing is working. And then you work until your 70s, and then what? So at some point, we need to have that deeper conversation of it needs to be more than just your life being based around working. Especially if you're not trying to start your own business or be your own boss. If you're going to be working for someone for the rest of your life, then we need to have a conversation for real. Because I guarantee you, once you get to that 70s, 80s, then you're going to look back and be like, I barely lived the life that I wanted, but yet I accumulated so much wealth for the company that I worked for and got so little back, and you have nothing to show for it. I've seen it. I've seen my family do it. I don't want to be a part of that myself. But I'm 37 years old, so, that's a whole nother conversation. But I don't want that for my kids. So, but one thing, back to the main point at hand is Trump does not care about education. And more importantly, Black history. And you're probably telling me, hey, he's never said that. He's never said he doesn't want to teach Black history or he wants to whitewash what happened here in America. Well, I kind of disagree with you because unfortunately, we have this apparatus, this function called videos. It captures live moments with audio that we can play back at any point that we want. So let's go ahead and see how this thing works.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego.
Okay, he said liberal city, so he's already kind of pinpointing his point he's trying to make. He's not just saying any schools throughout any parts of the country, more specific, liberal states.
Here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
New history? New history. What is new about that? I don't understand. If you're watching this and you disagree with me, I need you to explain to me what the hell that means. New history? Did the British come on this land and it was already people here occupying the land? And what happened to those folks? Did they not bring forcefully Africans to this country for years, millions of them to this country for free labor? Free, yes, FREE, free labor for 200 plus years. I mean, I don't know. We can disagree on what what built this country, but anytime you have free labor for almost 300 years, well, damn it, you're building something off the back of someone. At some point, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't for 2-3 years. So you tell me what part of that history is new? I don't know, but let's hear Trump's response to this crazy question.
This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money.
Oh.
We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
And we're going to send. But if they want to do that,
because you do lose control when you go low.
There you go.
We've lost control. We're number 4.
There you go. I think you guys missed the key part there, because he doesn't really care about Black history or whitewashing. He doesn't really care about that. But the one part right there,
listen, you do lose control when you go low.
They will save half of our budget.
Okay.
And
save half of the budget. That's where the gold is. That's the root, point of his whole entire being of we need to get rid of the Department of Education. He wants to save money. Hey, like I tell you guys, follow the money. Well, not me personally. I'm pretty sure a lot of people say that. But if you follow the money, I guarantee you that's where you're going to find a lot of this, the root to all this rhetoric, you know. But unfortunately, I had to actually learn about the Department of Education, their role on the federal surface level. Then I had to learn of, you know, the Board of Education and their roles in local communities. Then, you know, essentially what teachers and principals and everything that they're required to do. I actually had to take time out of my day, not playing League of Legends, not playing Call of Duty. I actually had to learn this stuff, but you know, and there's a lot of negatives that comes along with just cutting the Department of Education without a reasonable replacement or like a strategy or a plan to stop the bleeding, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when someone gets shot, you know, in the movies and they take the bullet out, you know, but usually they wrap it or they try to suppress it to stop the bleeding. It's like you taking a bullet out because you say it's an issue, but don't have nothing to wrap it or stop the bleeding. That person's going to die, you know, but with, you know, the research that I did, let me know once again in the comments down below if I'm wrong or misinterpreted anything. But 3 things that I kind of found is inconsistent education standards. Without the Department of Education, states would set their own standards, creating big differences in the quality of education across the country. Let me go through my points. Less funding for needy students. Federal funds for low income and special needs students could decrease, leaving many students without vital support. Weaker civil rights protections. The Department of Education ensures schools don't discriminate. Without it, students' rights could be inconsistently protected across states. So once again, one thing or 2 essential things is one, where's the funding for impoverished communities going to come from? And do a little research. Where does funding come from? It comes from the area taxes. It comes from property taxes. And if property taxes are low or there's really not too much income in that area, then where's the funding going to come from for those schools in that area? I don't know. No one has told me that yet. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to a lot of the implementations of legislation that came from the Department of Education, when it comes to civil rights and discrimination, that came from the federal level. But once again, if we're starting to play this, oh, let's leave it to the states. Well, what if one state says, hey, we don't want, you know, X amount of black students in this school? Let's just say they want to do that. Who's going to stop them? We're just leaving it to the states. So, I mean, we need to make sure that we have something in place to replace something before we just get rid of it. It's like, you know, quitting your job and don't have something to fall back on. Then you're screwing yourself. Well, in this case, they're kind of screwing us. But let's go ahead, because this is a channel of education, talking about education. Let's hear what some other people have to say.
Trump say about education policy while on the campaign trail?
Well, I think it's important to remember, Phil, that the majority of education policy and funding is decided on the state and even local city, county level. But parents' sort of grievance and frustration about the classroom, sort of culture wars that have erupted around the classrooms, really sort of took on a national prominence. And we saw Trump and other Republicans in particular running on a national level sort of tap into some of that frustration and talk about it. A little bit of a mixed bag from President-elect Trump. On the one hand, he talked about wanting trying to eliminate the Department of Education. On the other hand, he also talked about wanting to actually use the federal government to punish or restrict funding to school districts and states that might not make the curriculum reforms that he or other Republicans thought were important. So sort of a split philosophy about whether you are trying to decentralize education more to the states or actually centralize in federal.
Well, honestly, Trump does not know. Let's be honest. He doesn't know the difference, and he doesn't really care.
Education curriculum standards. Look, in the last few years, we've seen a lot of Republican states passing new strict education laws, changing curriculum and how teachers can talk about race and gender in the classroom. We've also seen for President-elect Trump, spending a lot of time on the campaign trail with the Moms for Liberty group, sort of a far-right, more conservative group that has been a big part of pushing some of those book ban proposals, trying to get books, specifically books that mention race or gender identity, out of school libraries. Phil.
And of course, what happens on the campaign trail and once someone gets to the White House can be different. We don't know what a Trump administration would do as of yet, but how much of this could be done?
I mean, that's crazy, right? He literally just said, well, we're not too sure how Trump is going to, make these changes for X, Y, and Z. Dude had 4 years to come up with something and explain all of this. And people already elected him, and now we're trying to guess on what he's going to do with eliminating the Department of Education. It's so weird to me that it's like hiring someone for your company and have no idea what they're going to be bringing to the table. Like, hell, you don't even know what position you hired him for. He's just gonna do something. I don't know.
By executive order, which the president-elect may not even need because he may have the House and the Senate anyways. But how much of this can be done by executive order?
Yeah, probably not a lot. Look, it would help Republicans a whole lot if they do, in fact, keep control of the House. Their chances there are looking pretty good, and it does make it a lot easier for President-elect Trump to do, to sort of put his own plans, his own priorities in place if he has full control and unified government under the Republican Party. If they control both the Senate and the House and the White House, they can just do a lot more, move a lot faster. Things like huge changes to the Department of Education, or if he really was going to try to move to scrap the department altogether, that would take congressional approval. Another interesting question is whether they would try to set up a national school voucher style system. We've seen that as a popular move in some Republican states. Interesting, a lot of voters actually knock down these proposals, but we've seen Republican governors try to put them in place where basically a taxpayer can sort of take a voucher of their sort of what would be their tax sort of payer dollars and use it towards a private school, religious school, homeschooling if they choose to keep their kid out of public school. Critics say that it could gut public education. It's controversial for sure, but there's definitely been a question about whether Republicans on Capitol Hill, if they do have unified government, would try to put any sort of national program like that in place.
All right, Mary Alice Parks. Mary Alice, thanks so much.
Yeah, once again, it's just really upsetting that one of the biggest reasons why, in my opinion, on why we lost this election is majorly, in my opinion, 75% due to misinformation. And either that's intentionally or just unknowingly misinformed. And to combat that, you need to educate yourself with basic government civics. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be some astrophysicist, just basic government function that can, remedy a lot of the misinformation that was being passed around the last 8 years. But just like before, even before Trump, even before all of this, if you're a parent, it is your job to educate your kids, especially when it comes to things that teachers are not doing or doing a poor job doing. You need to teach your kids what's important: math, reading, science, all that. But more important, history. Bottom line, it is your job to educate yourself and your friends and those you love. So, once again, we don't really know what's going to happen when he gets into office in regards to education. But at the end of the day, if he gets rid of it, if he guts everything, we still have an obligation to do what we're doing here, and that's teach each other, build each other, and try to make the best decisions, not only for ourselves, but for our community at the end of the day. So once again, if you guys disagree with anything that I said in this video, hit the Discord link down below so we can have that one-on-one talk, or let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. And like always, let's have that conversation. Man, I messed that up.